spiritually, all of that. So, you know,
Yeah.
yes, I have made resolutions.
Okay, good job, Ed. Well, I was gonna pick on you. Maybe I should wait until the next segment for that. I was gonna pick on you a
Yeah,
little
they
bit.
all go by the wayside by the Super Bowl. So,
Oh, really? You make it to Super Bowl? That's not too bad. You look. We had this trainer on yesterday, Rodney Richardson. He was great. He was very inspiring. You may want to check out yesterday's podcast wherever you get your podcasts. They're also available on YouTube, and you could, pick up a few tips. Not that you really need them, but if you're really in your fitness bag, um, yeah, that was a good show. Ed.
definitely.
Our country
Okay.
is in crisis. I mean, I feel like I've been saying that, but now it feels much more real with the killing of Renee Good, a white woman in broad daylight uh, by ICE agents who simply shot her in the head. Are you kidding me? Um, it feels like a sci-fi movie or something actually, and not a fun one. Um, with the shooting, of course, of Keith Porter by an off-duty ICE agent in Northridge, black man. A couple people shot in Portland, and all they do is say it's self-defense, self-defense, self-defense. But the videos set and the photos and eyewitnesses say the opposite.
Yeah, it. I mean, the the feeling feels like, sort of after George Floyd, right? I think, if I remember when we were talking about, George Floyd's killings, one of the elements of it was that it was caught on video, right? And the um, just the cruelty, you could see it on video. Um, Certainly the same with the lady from Minnesota. To watch her shot on video, to watch her get killed on video at close range like that. Um, you know, First it's just a shocking value to it, but then second, you can see the poor decision making in on film, right? Like there really was not a need to draw your weapon and shoot her in the head like that. Um, as you were laying it out, I was my own emotion. I was feeling, the depression that I remember feeling in 2020, right? And it's just like, man, is this ever going to stop? Is this ever going to change? But when you put it in the context of, this Trump administration and the type of ICE agents that they've hired, they're like, reckless, lack of a better term, but a good analogy is they're like the slave catchers of yesteryear, right? Um, they don't have any accountability to our own sensible norms. Their own accountability is to the Trump administration, and he's not going to hold them accountable, right? And we all know that, and that's the frustration that we're feeling right now, and that we've got to continue to work through. Um, we were in an interesting conversation the other day, and it focused on this, Dominique. Once a new president comes in, what happens to all of these ICE agents? Is there what do we do with them? They can't stay, right? Like they can't stay in their jobs. We know that. What do we do with them? Do we
Well,
prosecute them?
I mean, I saw, oh gosh, I can't think who it was. Mehdi Hassan. I saw him talking about
Hmm.
not just what happens to ICE agents, what happens to all of these people inside the government that have been breaking the law
Yeah.
and lying. What happens to Christy Noem? What happens to Cash Patel? What happens to all of these folks who have been breaking the law? And his argument And I really have to give this more thought. His argument was that there needs to be accountability. We cannot do what Obama did, he said, where he's, okay, well, so Dick Cheney authorized, the torture of a few thousands of people. Let's put the past behind us. And his point was, if we keep doing that, if Democrats keep doing that, we're going to end up with, every time we alternate administrations, another more egregious, sort of emboldened fascist administration.
Oh, sure, without a doubt. And to be clear, I don't think it's limited by party one way or the other.
It might not be limited by party, but let's look at where we are right now. I mean, sure, Obama did some terrible things. All presidents, your job is to put
which is the point. Yeah,
that's
is
your
to
point.
Do terrible things.
Well, no, I'm not going to say your job is to do terrible things, but if your job is to defend American empire, and sometimes, that it requires or entails doing terrible things. I get that. I'm not arguing that. What I am arguing is that right now, and also for most of my lifetime, Republicans have been the ones blatantly breaking the law when it comes to the U.S. Constitution. I'm not talking about it, I'm not excusing a Democrat here or a Democrat there who hides money in their freezer or sends drones, but I'm talking about in the main, and particularly what we're seeing right now as it concerns a complete assault on our Constitution and our supposed democracy.
Yeah, I mean, look, the best case scenario for like the long-term future of the country is if this was some measure of a bipartisan effort to do what you're describing. I think that if it's one party administration punishing the last party, that doesn't bode well for the future of the country, period.
But if they break the law, Ed, that's bull. Because if they break the law, you just can't keep giving them a pass.
I know, but it's the entire Republican Party.
So you're saying we'd have to jail everybody?
It's not been one person. It's been right. It's been
but we can go crime by crime by crime, and you can say that makes us just like them, but it really doesn't, because they're making stuff up as opposed to actually breaking the law.
Listen, I agree with you in everything you're saying. I get it. I'm just saying there is a ramification to doing it.
There's a ramification to not doing it. You end up right where we are right now.
Well, it should be just as threatening to the country to not do it. And that's what I'm fearful, that it doesn't feel that way. It should be just as threatening to the country, if not more, that the inaction, if there is inaction, people, certainly on the right, should feel like this country isn't going to last. I don't know that they feel that.
Well, okay. I guess this will be one of our agree to disagree moments. I just feel like the fear of partisanship, or the fear of being, them, basically, has kept us from doing a lot of things that need to be done, i.e. investigating whether there was cheating in the last election, i.e. holding these folks accountable when they break the law and do all kinds of terrible things to people. I mean, I see people in the streets right now protesting, and they're protesting about, Miss Good, who was murdered in Minnesota. I see them protesting about Keith Porter Jr., who was murdered here in Los Angeles by an off-duty ICE agent. But we're not at the level of 2020, and even if we are, we need actual real change, not just protest for a summer and then everybody goes home and puts up with fascism.
Yeah, agreed. Protests are one element, one expression. There are. My point still stands that I don't think people on the right feel, the fear. There's no fear in this. right? And unless they identified with, a white woman, mother of a young child being shot, they're right back where they were. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I don't think most of them don't care at all because they're buying the official story. Oh, she was threatening him with the truck, which you can clearly see she was not doing. There's videos from every angle. The situation in Portland is murkier because there's no bystander video, but the people aren't dead, at least as far as we know, so they should be able to tell us their version, at least, of what happened. But
sure.
Okay, we're going to continue this conversation when we come forward. How will they ever have fear if no one holds them accountable to the law? And maybe they'll just say, oh, well, they'll put us in jail and we'll get right back out when J.D. Vance pardons all of us. But either way it goes, there has to be some accountability. 800-920-1580 if you want to jump in, weigh in, or sound off. I'm Dominique DePrimo with Ed Sanders for KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
KBLA Talk 1580 is pleased to partner with the Empowerment Congress once again for their 34th annual summit. The summit's theme is From Vision to Action, a forum to unlock participatory democracy, and will feature a nonpartisan gubernatorial candidate forum focused on issues of importance to the African American community. The summit is the signature public policy-oriented observance of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy during the national 3-day holiday weekend that celebrates his life. This year's summit will be held on Saturday, January 17th, 2026 at the California Science Center in Exposition Park from 9 to 11 a.m. Admission is free, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. All major announced candidates for California governor for the Democratic and Republican Party nominations have been invited to participate in the candidate forum, which will be moderated by Tavis Smiley. An all-star panel of journalists will pose questions to the candidates, and the forum will be broadcast live on KBLA Talk 1580. This is going to be a big year for local, state, and national politics. The political pulse of 2026 beats on KBLA Talk 1580.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your nature-made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DePrima right now.
Back to me, back to Ed Sanders. Okay, Ed, I'm going to let you land on that. I didn't mean to cut you off, but we were fighting the clock there. So your bottom line is...
Oh, good question. It's something that we've got to talk about, right? Like, which is next administration. What do we do with these ICE agents? What do we do with, to your point, the administration officials that have so blatantly lied to the country,
and broken the law,
and broken the law. I for one, and I think we're both of the same. We don't want to see a feckless attorney general like Merrick Garland, right? We want to see someone come in and hold this past administration accountable.
Yeah.
I think
I'm thinking
our
Letitia
conversation,
James.
our debate there
That's
was
who
on
I'm
what
thinking.
happened.
I'm thinking Letitia James.
Yeah, that would be outstanding. That's must-see TV. They would have to, they'd have to put a daily prosecution on because it's almost like an endless number of them.
Yeah.
But ultimately, that's it. We got to figure out, how we address what this administration has done to the country and the people.
Yeah, I mean, and I think about South Africa because last time I was there, which is a couple of years ago, so many of the young people are angry at Nelson Mandela for not getting land, for not getting wealth, for just doing, reconciliation, truth and reconciliation. And now you can have an Elon Musk. I saw him on Twitter yesterday claiming that there were more anti-white laws than there were anti-black laws under apartheid, which is completely bull. But people don't know any better, and he has so many followers. And the fact of the matter is the white folks still own everything. They have all the money. They have all the corporate power. And the black people have the symbolic government jobs, and that's it. And that's only for now. So, I know the parallel is not exact, but there is a parallel in if a government does terrible criminal actions against the people, there has to be accountability. Otherwise, you end up with this imbalance of power and this imbalance of narrative too.
Yeah, whenever I hear, that this is where the old phrase "might makes right" matters, right? Like our ability to defend ourselves. The moral argument isn't strong enough for oppressors, right? Oppressors are going to oppress. That's what they do. And whether they feel morally justified by it or not, or it stands in contrast to their stated values or our collective stated values, they're still going to do it. The only way you stop oppressors is to be able to defend yourself from them. And that wasn't the case in South Africa, and it's not the case for us here. I always land on that, and it's sort of that sobering reality of American life for those that aren't of the military ilk,
Yeah.
So, at any rate.
Okay, so I said I wasn't going to pick on you until right now. So the picking on Ed starts now, and it's about Waymo because I know I know you swear by it, and I am skeptical of it. And I know you saw what happened in San Francisco and you didn't want to hear about it from me. Nevertheless, the power went out in San Francisco and the Waymos all shut down, basically paralyzing the entire city. There's, an investigation underway. There's supposed to be a hearing. They just all shut down and everyone that was behind or near one was trapped. So they were blocking intersections. The traffic in the entire city was basically paralyzed for hours. And they had to shut down the whole fleet for a time. And now the question is, what happens if there's an earthquake?
Well, start with the see, you always make me on defending Waymo, like I have major stock in the company.
No, but you like it. You use it.
like I have a title for Waymo.
I know. You should. You chief information officer for Waymo. I bet you that pays a lot of money.
Exactly.
Watch me get that job, and all of a sudden, I love Waymo.
Yeah, we're gonna have to call him real quick. First things first, sponsored by Waymo. My goodness.
Well, San Francisco has more driverless cars than anybody. So if all the Waymos shut down in LA, to be clear, it wouldn't shut down the whole city because there aren't that many of them. But we're moving in that direction.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely expanding down here, and I was in Phoenix over the New Year, and they're in Phoenix as well. Listen, I get it. You know, like there was a power outage. You know.
Speaking of speaking of Phoenix, there's a Waymo. There's a video circulating right now of a Waymo that just decided to drive along the light rail tracks in Phoenix, and
I saw that one. That was a little terrifying.
Yeah, it's just like do. I can go here.
Right. That one should cause some alarm, without a doubt. You know. I hope the person got out, you know.
Can you get out? I don't know. I've never ridden in one. Can you get out when it's moving? Can you make it stop?
That's a good question.
I know that if you put one of those construction cones on the hood, it will stop a Waymo, which is another alarming thing. Okay, we got news, traffic, and sports.
You know all the tricks. I know there's some tricks to it. I don't know those.
Yeah,
tricks.
but I don't want anybody doing that trick if I'm in the car, is my point. Anyway, we got news, traffic, and sports. Then more of me and Ed talking about Waymo when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump says the woman killed by ICE in Minnesota was a professional agitator, calling the shooting self-defense. Governor Tim Walz blames federal policies.
What we're seeing is the consequences of governance designed to generate fear, headlines, and conflict.
Emergency operations have been activated, and Governor Walz urges protests to stay peaceful. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries condemns the ICE shooting in Minneapolis, saying there's no evidence to justify it. He calls for a criminal investigation and blasts Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem as a stone-cold liar after she labeled the victim's actions domestic terrorism. And the Kansas City Chiefs say they're aware of domestic violence allegations made on social media by wide receiver Rashee Rice's ex, who posted photos and claims he's the father of her children. The team is in touch with the NFL, but has no further comment. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The University of Miami, the last school selected for the 12-team college football playoffs, is heading to the national championship game. Miami hung on for a 31-27 win Thursday night over Mississippi in the semifinals. The Hurricanes will play the winner of tonight's Indiana-Oregon game on January 19th at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. The Lakers and Clippers are back in action tonight. The Lakers are at home against Milwaukee. The Clippers are in Brooklyn. In Minneapolis Thursday night, the Timberwolves held a moment of silence before their game against Cleveland for Renee Good, the 37-year-old woman who was fatally shot Wednesday in her car by an ICE immigration agent. Tonight at 6, Out of Bounds is moving to prime time. Join me and my co-host Gil Scarborough for 60 minutes of sports chatter with some black folks flavor. You can be a part of the conversation at 1-800-920-1580. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Tired of the same old sports talk? Ready to go where the real conversation happens? Hi, I'm Ray Richardson, host of Out of Bounds, the sports show that doesn't play it safe. Every Friday at 6 p.m. on KBLA Talk 1580, my co-host Neil Scarborough and I get you ready for the weekend. We take you beyond the highlight reels and into the stories that matter. The controversial calls, the game-changing plays, the athletes making headlines for all the right reasons and sometimes the wrong ones. From the NFL to the NBA, college ball to the pros, if it's happening in sports, we're breaking it down with no filter and all opinion. Tune in to Out of Bounds with me, Ray Richardson, and my co-host Neil Scarborough, live every Friday at 6 p.m. only on KBLA Talk 1580. Because the best conversations happen out of bounds. KBLA Talk 1580, where Los Angeles talks.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thank you indeed. Well, Ed, there's this whole article. Ed Sanders is with me, by the way. Y'all know him. He's here every other Friday, and he's with ES Advisors. There's a whole article in the New York Times that was really interesting, talking about how more and more parents are using Waymo, more and more teenagers in particular, but little kids too, because they feel safer without a human driver to harass the children or, be drunk or sleepy. And I must say, after a couple of my recent Uber experiences, I might consider a Waymo too. When you get a person that drives like 7 miles an hour, or we got this one guy who had flashing disco lights inside the car. And it smelled like some really gross male cologne that was very strong. Me and my girlfriend were just praying we would make it to our destination at that point.
Yeah, that one, look, if I could remove, 80% of the human drivers out of the equation, the roads would be much easier, much safer, much, easier to get around. So,
yeah.
It is what it is. I get it. The power went out up in San Francisco, and there was some complications. Got it.
And by complications, you mean the whole city was shut down.
Driving around during the power outage either. There were no stoplights during the power outage.
What?
No.
Well, okay, true. The stoplights would also be down, but people get their makeshift things going, and they go through stoplights. I mean, we see that happening all the time. People know how to. Anyway. What the New York Times article kind of agrees with you, because it says that some parents believe, like a robot can brake faster than a human. And there isn't really data yet showing if the Waymos are more or less accident prone than humans, but it's saying it takes away the risk of a drunk driver, a sleepy driver, a predator, and that I can see.
Yeah, that's enough for me. Like I've got a daughter. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm not putting my daughter in the car with some unknown person.
Yeah, I mean, that was always the dilemma. I used to do hop, skip, drive because at least they give you the background check, and if you don't like the looks of the person, you can swap out. You can request another. But you have to order it the day before, and it costs 2 or 3 times as much as a regular Uber. So that was not great.
I'll tell you where I do draw the line. I'm seeing videos, I think, of like these personal drones that, that they can fly through the air.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get in it and fly above the traffic and be to downtown in 15 minutes. I don't know about that. Like, I'm not flying in a drone.
Yeah.
It's remote controlled.
What's different about that? Oh, because it's a driverless flying vehicle, and if something goes wrong, you die? Is that why?
Right, that part. Yeah. Flying in the air versus riding in a truck, I'm cool. Yeah. That's where my line is. So, that's I'm not that far advanced that I'll trust it to fly me around.
We'll see. I'll talk to you in a year or two and see what you're saying. I'll be right over, Dominique. I'll be flying in my drone.
Yeah, I'm sure some of it is coming. Like, what would you get on a commercial airline, LA to New York, if it was flown by technology instead of a pilot?
I might. Because I feel like they're mostly flown by technology now. I mean, it's true you have a pilot there to assist and they make critical decisions if you're going to crash, but for the most part they use the I don't know. Let me check in with my girlfriend who's a flight attendant and get back to you on that.
Right. Technology's invading our lives every moment.
Yeah, I don't mind that. It's just, to me, we have to be smart about understanding when it's helpful and when it's problematic. It's just like AI.
Yeah.
I'm not scared of AI. If AI can make your life easier in some way, go for it. What I don't like about it is stealing my human essence, my intellectual property, and it's overly hyped. People think AI is a god or some fix-all, do-all, tell-all, and it's just a giant chat bot. It's just a big aggregator of information, or as one critic said, a big plagiarizer. That's really what it is so far. I mean, I know it can make life easier, and I know it can replace humans in some jobs, but so did the internet. Like, I don't know. I think a lot of stuff is, maybe it's the Y2K memories. I just think a lot of stuff is overly hyped.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. The AI piece is interesting because it requires resources, right? Like, it requires minerals, it requires water, space, land, and that poses resource questions and geopolitical questions around who's got it and what kind of deals are we striking, or are we just taking it,
Which is what's happening now. They're just taking it.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
As Elon Musk's building data centers in Memphis and black communities polluting our communities. And that is a question, because right now we should be having a reckoning about how we're using our resources.
Right. Exactly. And that, as much as we joke about Waymo and technology invading our lives, this is the downside, the dark side of the conversation that we're not having, and it should be. It's right now, right? Like, we're seeing conflicts, we're seeing, treaties, we're seeing deals, we're seeing, I would say military action just based on the need for resources or to secure that supply chain. And as a people, we got to be informed about that and be able to act on it if that's not what we want. But We're pushing away. We'll have to do a show on that. We'll have to do a little more research. And
Yeah,
bring
we
some people in there.
absolutely. We've done a couple already, and we'll do some more. We'll go more comprehensive. Now, the Molly Bell reminds us that the Affordable Care Act passed the House on yesterday, which was a big victory for Democrats and Hakeem Jeffries. But it doesn't mean that extension of the subsidies happens, because it still has to pass the Senate, right?
Right, I think that's right. And I didn't see if they scheduled a date for that. I don't know that they have, nor do I think they're actually going to do it.
I mean, you mean when you say do it, you mean pass it or schedule a date?
Yeah, well, one, schedule a date. I was curious, and I still haven't seen that there's, a deal in the Senate to pass it.
Right. See, now that's what worries me here. I mean, but the pressure may be ramped up now because 17 Republicans voted with Dems to pass it in the House. And, there are some senators that have to stand for re-election. So we'll see, because now people are starting to see the bills coming in, and so this has become much more real. It's not a theoretical thing anymore.
Right, exactly. And there's nothing like taking one person's bill from 1 month to the next and showing the spike and putting that in a political mailer. The Republican senators that care to stay elected, will feel that heat. I fear that just given the climate, you're going to see some more retirements. Folks are just like, yeah, I'm done with this.
But that one was passed through.
We don't have leverage on it.
I mean, but this one was still passed through a discharge petition, meaning Democrats forced it to the floor. The speaker didn't bring it up. To your point about bipartisanship, supposedly there's a group in the Senate that's been working on a bipartisan compromise around this. So we'll see. But it's not a done deal yet, was my point.
Yeah, I didn't look at the 17 Republicans. What do you know about them? I didn't look to see who those were.
Let me see if I have that list. Yeah, 17 of them. And they're, predictably, they're running for re-election.
Right.
That's, let's see if this lists them in Politico. That to me shows that it's an election year, and it shows that the Republicans are feeling the heat on this. Let's see. I don't see it here. I can pull it for the next break.
I'm going to take a look myself. And the reason why I was asking, and I'm curious, and I'm not tracking like her life and all, but did Marjorie Taylor Greene already step down from her post, and was she one of the 17?
Yeah, no, she was already gone. She was already gone.
She's gone already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because then somewhere in there is a new voice, right? Clearly, if they're ready to do that, they're ready to stand up to the administration.
I hope so.
And it would just be, well, they did it. So, he's not going to ever welcome them back into the fold. So they're out of MAGA world. That's for sure.
They're out of good graces. Yeah, and I mean, you have to go be pretty extreme. You got to be a pretty extreme Marco Rubio to get back in. That's for sure. Okay, here goes the list. Let's see. Robert Bresnahan of Pennsylvania, Mike Carey of Ohio, Brian Fitzpatrick, Pennsylvania, Andrew Gabriano, New York, Jeff Hurd, Colorado, Dave Joyce, Ohio, Tom Kern, New Jersey, Nick LaLota, New York, Mike Lawler, New York, Ryan McKenzie, Pennsylvania, Carol Miller, West Virginia, Zach Nunn, Iowa. I don't know these folks. Maria Elvira Salazar.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're not going to know any of those names.
I don't know any of these folks. None of them are, high profile as far as what I'm reading in this list. I've heard of a few of them, Tom Keene Jr. in New Jersey, but no really high profile Republicans here.
Yeah, which is to your point. That's a rank and file person that probably just got elected. I can't imagine that they've been in the House very long, but they got back home and they felt the heat from, their constituency. And really, it's telling. It's like, hey, I didn't go to D.C. to fight against constituents, and they were ready to break. Man, that's a story we're going to have to continue to tell, across the country, particularly in Republican districts, because there are people that have the courage to stand up to this administration.
And if the Senate doesn't pass it at this point, those senators are going to feel the heat. And Republicans will take the blame for this because, I feel like Hakeem Jeffries, if he's done one useful thing, he's made sure of that. And this vote in the House makes it crystal clear that the ball is in their court. Ed Sanders is with me. You're always welcome in. 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DePrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to here with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. Their max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Worried about unpredictable utility bills this winter? LADWP's Level Pay makes budgeting a breeze. With Level Pay, you'll receive a monthly bill that stays the same. No surprises. Even past due amounts can be rolled in, and you'll skip those seasonal spikes from heating your home. Sign up today at ladwp.com/levelpay. That's ladwp.com/levelpay, or call 1-800-DIAL-DWP and take control of your bill.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach, transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal, prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey there, Los Angeles. This is James Lucky Jr., publisher and editor of Los Angeles News Observer. Are you hungry for news that matters to you in the African-American communities of Los Angeles? Well, buckle up, because we got the scoop you've been craving. Stay in the know and never miss a beat with our free weekly publications conveniently available near you. Or hop on the digital wave and become an exclusive subscriber at OGNSC.com. Don't forget to join the party on Instagram and Twitter at OGNSCINC for behind-the-scenes access and sizzling updates. No more FOMO. Let's stay informed, connected, and empowered together.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. Their max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Looking for something new? Try fencing, the Olympic and Paralympic sport that mixes speed, strategy, and fun. It's like chess meets cardio. Quick feet, quick decisions, and a satisfying beat when you score a point. Kids, teens, and adults can start anytime. No experience needed, and many clubs have loaner gear. Coaches teach fundamentals and safety from day one. Find a beginner class near you at usafencing.org/tryfencing. That's usafencing.org/tryfencing.
We knew you'd stick around. This is LA's home for progressive talk radio. Be heard. Welcome back to KBLA Talk 1580.
Welcome back. Ed Sanders is in the building. It's a Freedman Friday. We're expecting Dr. David Horn any moment. Get some really insight. Want to talk about what's going on in San Francisco with their reparations resolution. But a couple things I want to squeeze in before we run out of time. Which are more signs. Well, one is a sign of more Republican cracks in the armor, and that is this war powers resolution, which the Senate passed. The Senate passed a resolution meant to stop Trump from doing any further military action in Venezuela without congressional approval. And the problem is, of course, the House would have to pass it. They've already vetoed something like this. But again, you've got 5 Republicans, Josh Hawley, which surprised me, Todd Young, Murkowski, not surprising, Susan Collins and Rand Paul, not surprising. But 5 Republicans joined Democrats to try to rebuke the president in further action in Venezuela. I think that's also significant.
Yes. I mean, yes, it is. It's an incredible statement at, what just occurred. I don't know that there's any more Venezuela military need, right? But so in some sense, this is sort of, after the fact. We've already proposed.
We already took their whole president. Yeah, but still,
right.
One, he's been bragging about a second wave. 2, stuff is probably going to go left there. I mean, it's always the big, they're throwing flowers. Oh, we got the guy out. And then the problems start later. The problems don't start right away. So also, I think it's important for them to claw back that power.
Well, the question is, this all starts with the resources piece, right?
Yeah.
As the oil interests go into the country, if there is, to your point, violence or actions taken by, either the Venezuelan army or military or people, organized in Venezuela, someone is going to defend those economic interests. And, whether it's the U.S. military, and in a lot of ways, we don't use the U.S. military for that anymore, right? We use these contractors. And I haven't read that resolution, but I don't think it applies to military contractors, which is just as much as the U.S. military as sort of the soldiers. So, honestly, I see it, but I don't look at this resolution as stopping anything, right? Like I think military contractors have always been sort of in the plan to protect.
But
the American
can military
business
contractors go in with? They still need the military command. They can't just send the contractors, can they? I don't know. Maybe the
Didn't
fact
we do that in the Middle East?
No, we still had commanders. We still had, supposed military control over those contractors. How much control that is, I don't know. But to your point, I mean, he wants to double the military budget for 2027. So perhaps that's what he has in mind, is more, spending more and more for contractors and going back to that role of defending all of the messes that we make in the world when we do, leadership change or, coups, when we do our little U.S.-backed coups.
Coups. That was the word I was looking for earlier. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
yep.
I'm glad they're at least saying, look, we're supposed to have the right to vote for this. You don't just get to go. Now, the administration is saying, well, their argument is this is a drug and law enforcement action, so you don't have power over it. But clearly, when you depose a president of a country, that is not just a military action.
Yeah, that's an act of war.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's an act of war. That is, in essence, what it is.
Well,
and it should require Congress approval.
And he is talking. I mean, he is talking about Greenland and Mexico and Colombia, and I mean, so yeah, he no wonder he wants to double the budget. We only have a minute left here, Ed. I should have asked you if you had anything you wanted to promote. If you had anything going on that you wanted to put out there, I waited till the last minute. I did not mean to do so. If you don't, just tell them how to find you.
This year we're going to get on the resolution. Resolution 26 is to help me get off of X and find an appropriate venue for KBLA chat members to reach me. But, in the meantime, just, mindful of the anniversary of, the fires here in Los Angeles and those that lost their lives and property in both Altadena and the Palisades, and just thankful that, KBLA has been a voice. Had a good time with James Farr before the holidays and talking about that. And, you guys stay the course and keep folks focused on making our communities whole.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that, Ed Sanders. I appreciate you, as always. We've got our Freedman Friday conversation coming up next after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump says the woman killed by ICE in Minnesota was a professional agitator, calling the shooting self-defense. Governor Tim Walz blames federal policies.
What we're seeing is the consequences of governance designed to generate fear, headlines, and conflict.
Emergency operations have been activated, and Governor Walz urges protests to stay peaceful. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries condemns the ICE shooting in Minneapolis, saying there's no evidence to justify it. He calls for a criminal investigation and blasts Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem as a stone-cold liar after she labeled the victim's actions domestic terrorism. And the Kansas City Chiefs say they're aware of domestic violence allegations made on social media by wide receiver Rashee Rice's ex, who posted photos and claims he's the father of her children. The team is in touch with the NFL but has no further comment. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.